is going to be race number 10, and it's over the 1800 metres, a Class 2 event. And we've got Tuchel at the top of the book, just £1 extra for the win last time over the 1600 metres. Columbus County comes out of group racing over 1.5 miles. Butterfield's a two-time course and distance winner. Rise Brethren has the pacifiers off and the cheek pieces going on. Turin Red Sun, shadow roll off, blinkers again. Champion Dragon raced wide on the all-weather. Nellie Fine's best form so far has been at Happy Valley. All for St Paul's, we've seen him to better effect over 1600 metres, but he has won over the 1800 on the all-weather. Looking great has the cheek pieces off. Sweet Encounter goes up in trip, and the Best Peach comes up to Class 2 for the first time from 1600 metre racing down in grade. Speed map time, Nick, and with Tuchel likely to be the favourite, how does he get the race run to suit him?
Well, I think there are going to be horses that will lead him off. I mean, All for St Paul's, we know, loves to lead. Champion Dragon is another. He's drawn 5. All for St Paul's drawn 9. He's a little bit wider out. Might have to come across a few here. Looking Great is another horse who can race on the speed, but he's drawn even worse off in 12. So, look, I think Tuchel from gate 4 gets a lovely run into the race. Bourbon Air is another who would like to sit handy, but he is drawn wide. So I think Paul Tuchel probably gets the run of the race in this.
He does. Look, it looks perfectly set up for him, to be honest. Rise Brethren can follow him into the race. But the horses that like to get back, like Sweet Encounter, the Best Peach and Nearly Fine, they should get their chance with all the space in the race. So it's going to be a really good race to finish the card.
It certainly is, and we're going to keep our focus now on Tuchel. He's written by Zach Purton, and this is what he had to say to Nick.
Zach Tuchel, one of your rides on this weekend's card at Sha Tin. Good job last time he did, and he's going up in trip here.
Yeah, he's been incredibly consistent all season, and he continues to perform when we want him to. He's obviously got to carry the weight this time and up in distance a little bit, but you know, he put himself in the right spot and give himself a chance.
It revisits this trip after running in the Classic Cup. He was your chosen mount for that race. As time's gone on, do you think he's developed into a horse that will now stretch over this sort of trip and a bit more, perhaps?
Yeah, I didn't think he ran the distance of the 1800 out that well when I rode him, but I did chase the speed a little bit in that race, and maybe that was a telling factor. And obviously in the Derby, he was strong to the line, but they went that slow that it wasn't really a test of stamina. And he drew a soft gate and had a soft run, so he had something there to give. But he gets his chance again, so I'm not going to say he's not going to run it.
He seemed to sprint really well last time, Zach, to chase a bit of a runaway leader. I mean, as a rider, that must have been quite an impressive feeling from him to be able to do that. Yeah,
well, Lyle sort of got there quite easily and got his own way in front for a period of time, and then obviously he put the gas down a fair way from home, and it really made him chase a long way from home and dragged it out of him, and he did a good job. There was no fluke in what he did. He had to man up, and he did that, and you know, he was strong to the line, so hopefully that helps us in this race.
He has had a nice tick-over trial as well, so that just put the finishing touches on him for this?
Yeah, it's indicative of what John does, right? He likes to trial his horses between runs where he can, and you know, he felt like this horse needed it, and he trialled well.
We'll get the boys' thoughts on Tuchel shortly, because we're going to see his track work after, Nick, we have a look at some trial form here, and it is Rise Brethren who we start with, a horse that you don't mind at all. Sweet Encounter, there he is in the mauve or lilac jacket, and Tuchel is wider on the track too, so he features in this trial as well. Yeah, quite an informative trial this. But we'll start with Rise Brethren, because, yeah, you're certainly right, Mark. I do like him in this, and I think you forget that run last time. That was on the all-weather. He's a big price. Look, he didn't disgrace himself, but he's a much better horse on turf. Some of that turf form's really good, and Jamie's only had him for a couple of starts so far. So, look, I think he can bounce back here to form. Sweet Encounter I'd like to see bounce back. And Tuchel, what did you make of that trial, Paul? Yeah, look, it was nice and quiet. That's a typical John size trial. He just does it nice and easy. I thought Rise Brethren's run was pretty good on the all-weather. You know?
Oh, it was, yeah.
He did really hit the line strongly there for fourth, and it was his first go on it. I've got all three of them in. All right, here's Tuchel again, Paul. This is his track work with Sweet Encounter, so they clash again. Yeah. Tuchel the best of this pair, obviously. Yeah, look, they didn't chase each other here. They did it nice and quietly. I wouldn't completely write off Sweet Encounter, though. He's a big price at the moment as well. I think, you know, he's a class horse on his day. Just a couple of starts in Class 2 for Sweet Encounter. Off to Happy Valley we go, and we have in this race Butterfield. He is the widest. Also Nearly Fine. He's the grade 2. He's inside, and Turin Red Sun fades to run 10th. But
He's actually holding his form quite well, Nick, in strong races, Butterfield.
He is, and look, he's a 7-year-old nowadays, but I mean, he's, like you say, he's put together a few decent runs. I mean, he ran in Group 3 company a couple of starts ago in that Queen Mother Memorial race. He actually won previously, and that was in fact his last win. So it's been a long, long time since he's won a race, Paul, but he is racing well. Yeah,
he's been placed 5 from his 12 starts this season, and look, he's just had a long season. He's up to 2,400 metres all over the place, distance-wise, but 1,800 looks good for him at the moment.
He's won a couple of times over the 1,800 metres. Here is the run on the all-weather you boys were just talking about. Paul, there he is, rides Brethren. He is in this field, the only one in this field that features in race number 10, and you can talk us through the finish that you were both pretty keen on the way he found the line.
I did, yeah. I made him a long shot. So I kept an eye on him the whole day this day, and I was hoping he'd run third because he was playing about 11 or 12 a place. About here he was going to run 6th or 7th, and then once he got to the outside, he finished off really strongly, I thought. So I thought it was a good enough run, and we know he's better on the turf, but just shows I wouldn't be surprised to have another crack at the all-weather with him.
Yeah, look, exactly. I mean, my argument is that he is a better horse on turf, but look, I certainly agree. He did finish off strong there, didn't he?
Yeah. And one more to look at, Nick. It is the Best Peach. There he is on the outside. Strong recently in Class 3. What do you think he's going to do up in grade this week?
I think he's going to do something quite encouraging, to be fair, Mark. He's well and truly in the market at this stage, currently second favourite. Look, he's going up in trip. First time he'll try this trip in Hong Kong, but he did win over this distance at Haydock Park in the UK, and that's a relatively stiff track. They've got to be able to stay there. So I've no qualms with the trip, Paul, and he's got a very light weight.
He has, hasn't he? And he's gone really well over the last few times with a light weight, up and trip. I think he's a chance.
Last race is always a good race, Paul, and this week, no exception.
Exactly right. I think Tuchel can win, though. Look, from Barron before, he can just get that perfect run just in behind the pace. The Best Peach, the one we just talked about there, he's in there for second. Sweet Encounter at a bit of a price for third, and Rise Brethren for fourth. 1, 12, 11, 4.
Yeah, I've gone Rise Brethren on top here. Back on the turf, I think is really going to suit him, and I think he's more than capable of winning this. Tuchel, the toppy, in for second. Look, he's a bit of a class act, and he's into triple figures now, so he's got a bit to do as far as carrying the top weight. The Best Peach down at the bottom of the lightweight. And look, I've given Sweet Encounter another chance. Don't want to drop off him. He's a decent horse in his day. 4, 1, 12, 11.